Hey everyone, it's Autumn. Today I'm going to do a video. It's a haul, but it's not really a haul. So I did film a haul of all these products and then I decided not to upload it. And the reason for that is pretty much because while I really enjoy watching hauls and seeing what's out there, a lot of the times I get bored with them just because I find that I want to know a little bit more about the product. So instead of uploading my haul video, I decided to sit with these products for a little while and then tell you a little bit about how they worked. So some of them I've had a little bit more time with them than others. Some are more recent purchases. Also, a lot of these were purchased at TJ Maxx. And what I wanted to do was go in and use one of those fresh apps or whatever, like the date checker apps, or websites, just to see how old they were. And that was one of the things that it's kind of been in the back of my mind when I purchased makeup at TJ Maxx, just how old it is. So some of it I can kind of tell just because it's a limited edition product. And then some of the things that are not limited edition, I kind of wonder if it's older product or if it's just overstock. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with Ulta and Sephora purchases. I'm only gonna go back a month because I feel like there's really no purpose in going back further than that. I haven't made videos in 2 years, so if I go back since the last time I did a haul, I just might as well show you my entire makeup collection. I mean, I do have items that are probably older than that, not very many at this point, but the other day I did look at Chanel Soleil de 10 Day Chanel or whatever it's called. It's that bronzing veil. I did check it last night and I'm kind of appalled at how old it is. I think I might do a video on the oldest makeup products in my collection and maybe pull them out and repurchase them, compare them to how they perform now versus then. So if you guys are interested in that kind of video, let me know in the comments below. All right, so the first thing that I picked up was a deodorant. And so I got this because I am obsessed with the Donna Karan Cashmere Mist deodorant. So this is my current go-to deodorant. This is not what I just purchased, but this is my current go-to. I work in a gym. I sweat a lot. I've tried all natural deodorants. They do not work for me. There is no research that suggests that the deodorants or antiperspirants with the aluminum really are bad for you. So I have stopped trying to find an all-natural deodorant that works because I've tried La Vanilla, which is expensive. I've tried Native. I've tried Kopari. I've tried like the ones that come in a paste form and you rub on your pits. A lot of them are abrasive. They don't work. They make me smell worse. They make me sweat more. I can't. So I did a little bit of research online and I found this. And this was pretty much touted as a dupe for the Donna Karan Cashmere Mist. And so not really a scent dupe, but as far as an effective dupe and an ingredient dupe. And I do look and this actually has more of the active ingredients and this is a 48-hour invisible solid. I could wear the Donna Karan 2 days and not even reapply and still not smell. And I have been using this and I will tell you it's as effective as the Donna Karan. So if you're paying close to $30 for this and you want to try something else out, I highly suggest this. I picked it up at Ulta. It was around $6. I'll have everything linked below as well if you want to check those out. So the next thing that I picked up at Ulta was the Becca highlighter in Opal. So I had this before in one of those little minis that you get in a sample, and it's, I think when I was traveling or something like that, it busted. So I decided to go ahead and just purchase the full size. The tone on this I prefer over some of my other Becca highlighters. I find that it's not as yellow or gold on my skin. And when I just kind of lightly dust it over, it just has a better sheen. So I'll kind of give you a swatch here and you can kind of see. It does still have a slight gold sheen, but it just looks, I don't know, more like skin. And I'll just make it a little bit more sheer, like the way I would wear it. There you go. And I just feel like it looks way better on my skin than some of the other things. So I'm a really big fan of this. For whatever reason there for a while, when I wasn't wearing the sample for a while, I thought it was too dark for my skin. I think maybe I was wearing too heavy of an application with it. I'm not sure what it was, but I've been loving it since I've purchased it. I picked up another one of these Anastasia brow gels. Mine was getting super disgusting. I threw it out as soon as I got this new one. I'm not even sure that there was any original product of the Anastasia brow gel left in it. When I would pull it out, it was like all brown and had like eyebrow hairs left in it. So I just got a nice new one that's nice and clear, and happy to have this. So I feel like this is the best thing, although I don't have any in my eyebrows today, and you can kind of see this. I'm looking in the monitor and there's like a gap over there. So let me see if I can fix. And I am one who combs eyebrows down and not up. My eyebrows do not grow up, they grow down. And a long time ago, I did a video about how I groom my eyebrows. I got rid of most of my videos, so I don't think that video is still live anymore. But I find, it's echoey in here, I'm sorry, I need to redo this office. But I find that if your eyebrows naturally grow down, combing them up just makes them look wild. And then mine never stayed in place when I tried to comb them up, and they looked patchy. So the way mine grow, I need to get the mirror here and stop looking that way. So the way mine grow is they start to kind of grow up here, and then they start to kind of go down around here, and then they go down. And I'll like just zoom you in. And I feel like if you just go with like what you naturally have on your eyebrows, they look way better than if you try to force them to just go up. So I don't know. I've tried to make them go up and they look so ridiculous on me. So that's just the way I do my eyebrows. I know a lot of people like to comb them up, but if you were wondering, that's why I'm combing mine down. Here, there we go. So around the holidays, and I think through a lot of the year, the Jack Black lip balms, they come in trio sets, and that's when I always purchase it. You do save a little bit of money, like maybe $2, so not a ton of money. But I did end up getting the trio set that comes in Asian Pear, Black Cherry, and Natural Mint. These are my favorite lip balms, and I'll just kind of show you. So these are my favorite lip balms for a lot of reasons, but they almost have like this really soft, plush, pillowy feel on the lips, but then also they have SPF in them, and they actually work. They make your lips feel great. And if you go and you stick these in your pocket and you accidentally wash them, because in my military uniforms, a lot of the time I'll shove it in my pocket. There are tons of pockets in my army uniform. Then I forget about it, and then I've washed and dried it. It doesn't ruin it. The lip balm's still in there. I have ruined Dior lip glow that way, and I've also ruined uniforms with having a colored lip product or like that greasiness that then you have like, looks like grease stains on there by washing a lip balm. So if you like to keep a lip balm in your pocket and you're afraid of something like that happening, I've washed these. It's never been a problem, and they're great lip balms. So I just always keep these around. I have tons of them. I keep them in my army bags. I keep them in my car, everywhere. So I keep a different lip balm on my nightstand, but that's pretty much my go-to lip balm. So now we're gonna get into some color products that I have picked up at Ulta. So I did pick this up, which is the Smashbox Plus Vlada. And this was on sale for around $14. And the pink tones were kind of calling to me, like the blush tones in here. And what I will say is that these are super metallic. And I'm not sure when this originally came out. I feel like there was a highlighter that was like a duochrome highlighter that went along with this. But you can see like how metallic those are. I mean, that's quite a bit. And I normally don't wear like super metallic-y things, so I usually end up just dusting those over the eye. But the lighter matte shade in there, I love. It's just like a really simple dusted over eye look. And then the super dark shade, I actually use with like a chisel sort of brush over eyeliner, or just as eyeliner by itself. I have it on today, and I've just really been loving that. So This was actually a pretty decent purchase for me. It's something that I use, and I do like these two highlight shades. They look similar, but they're kind of duochrome-like. Here, I'll swatch those two. And so they do read a little bit differently once swatched. So you can kind of see there. One's more pink and one's more golden. So I have been enjoying that. I have like a wipe here that is like super wet. I've been wiping my swatches, but then I'm like, I stay super wet after like wiping it. Gross. Okay. So I've never really tried any ColourPop products other than lip products. So I think one time in a BoxyCharm or something like that, I got a weird liquid lipstick. It was a bizarre like grayish mauve color that I never wore. And so I wanted to try some of their highlighters. So I did get a duo that they had on their site, and it came with two shades. It came with the shade Might Be, which is this shade, which is like a darker sort of bronze shade. And it came with the shade Lunch Money, which I'm pretty sure is a pretty popular shade. And so for this to be a highlighter for me was a bit weird. It didn't look as dark on the Ulta website as what it's showing up here. However, when I got it, I started using it as an eyeshadow topper. So I would just kind of do a nice matte eyeshadow look and then just kind of put it on the lid and then dust it out a little bit. And it would just add a little bit of dimension to the lid. I have it on my lid now. Let me just zoom you in. So once I dust it out, since it's not super metallic, it just adds a little bit of dimension on the lid. And I've actually really been liking it for that purpose. So I'll swatch them for you. Have a swatch there. I'll put my hand up here. So there's Lunch Money, and then yeah. Or yeah. Oh yeah, that's the bronze one. So you can see the bronzier one and then Lunch Money below it. Companies aren't going to be hiring me anytime soon to be doing their swatches. That's for sure. Okay, but I've really been enjoying them. And then also I actually wouldn't mind like bronzing that also over if I had a matte bronzer on my face and I wanted to make my face look less matte. I think that would be a good one just to lightly kind of put over your face. So I've really been enjoying that more than I thought I would. I feel like Lunch Money is just a little bit light. If you guys have any suggestions, like what would be a really good shade in these highlighters for my skin tone, let me know. All right, so sticking with the cheek stuff from Ulta, I picked up this Cover FX Monochromatic Blush Duo in Pink Dahlia. So I actually already had a ton of these. This was like pretty much the only one left that I did not own other than I think the shade Mulberry, which is quite dark. So here's Pink Dahlia. And I just love these. There's something about these when you can mix them together or put this on top instead of a highlight. These add so much dimension to the skin. Between these and the Buxom blushes, they're just two of my favorite blushes. So I'll show you, like, so I've even used the bronzer quite a bit. You can see I pulled them all out just to show you. And then I have this one right here in Soft Peach, which I've used quite a bit. And then this one in Warm Honey, which has gotten a lot of use. Sometimes I even use this one on the eyes. And then this one in Mojave Mauve, which is also a favorite. So I love those. So I went ahead and I picked this Pink Dahlia one up just because I felt like I would get a lot of use out of these shades. It's kind of, there we go. Like the color was kind of pulling weird, but really pretty. I'll go ahead and I'll swatch it for you. Maybe at some point, if you're curious, maybe I'll do a full-on swatch videos of the ones that I have. All side by side if that's something you want, but I'll just swatch the one I just purchased. So there it is. So you have the matte side and then that side. So there's a YouTuber named Hannah Louise Poston, I think is her name. Again, I'll leave her linked below. She was talking about this blush, and this is the Lancome, I think it's Miel Glacé. I'm not quite sure how you say the name. Here we go. She was talking about this blush, and so I picked it up and I've really been liking it. To me, it reminds me of a little bit more shimmery version of Benefit Dallas. It's a little bit lighter with a little bit more shimmer to it. And I'm a fan. So Dallas I'm able to actually sometimes use as a bronzer if my skin is fair enough. I'm not able to use this quite as a bronzer. I feel like it applies lighter than it looks in the pan. So I'll just kind of show you on the back of my hand here. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So I've been using this quite a bit. It's a lovely neutral blush that I feel like goes with everything. And I love Lancome blushes. I feel like the texture's nice and smooth. For whatever reason though, the texture of this blush is a little bit different than the texture of what I'm used to as far as a Lancome blush is, which comes in the trios right here. So this trio that I have, which is in Framboise, or I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but Framboise Flirt. It had a highlighter here, a blush, and then a contour. And this to me, the texture is like silk. And I'm trying to like use it up. It's a favorite of mine. I've had this for 3 to 4 years now. I need to just use it up or get rid of it. But the texture is just a little bit smoother on that one than this one, but it's still a super smooth texture. So I'm not sure what the difference is between them. They both say Blush Subtil. This is just Blush Subtil, this is Blush Subtil Palette. However, this says Powder Blush Fusion Color, and then this says nothing about that. So I don't know if the formulas are different or not. I don't know. Either way, it just feels different when swatching. Another Lancome product that I picked up is this Skin Feels Good, and this is their Sunscreen Hydrating Skin Tint Healthy Glow. I don't know, it says it has hyaluronic acid and glycerin, and it says it's oil free. And I can definitely kind of tell it's oil free. It almost kind of separates until you rub it into the skin. And I notice on the days when I try to use maybe an oil on my skin, obviously in the morning as part of my skincare routine, this does not like to mix with that. So just make sure, like, if you're using this, that you use just like a regular oil-free moisturizer when you're using it. I also find that it deepens a little bit on the skin as I apply it. So it does sort of, what's the word? Find that it just deepens on the skin when you apply it, which is a little bit annoying. Overall though, I have some on my hand here, and if I take my hand back, I already rubbed it out here on my hand, you can kind of see like the difference. And so it's just a little bit deep for my skin. I have the shade 25 Warm Beige, and that seemed to be the best match for my skin from what they had. I was ordering online. It's not a huge deal. I can bring it down my neck. It's a sheer coverage, and I find that sheer coverage face products are the most forgiving. If I wanted to go lighter on a sheer coverage though, I definitely could. So maybe if I get this again, I may just get a lighter shade. But I just find it's nice. It makes it feels good, and it is scented. So if scent bothers you, I wouldn't suggest it, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about the product. I was hoping for something just a little bit more, I don't know, like fresh looking. It just doesn't make my face look as fresh as I was hoping it would with the hyaluronic acid and glycerin in it. So I don't know. All right, so in my last video, I did a get ready with me, and I just kind of talked about like life updates, where this channel's going, and all that fun stuff. And I used this foundation, I'm pretty sure, and this is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Tint. This is actually a pretty good color match for me, and I do like it. The most annoying thing about this for me though is the application method. So it's not very hygienic. You take it out, you swipe it on your face, and then you stick it back in. I mean, you could put it on something else, on the back of your hand, whatever, but if you're just one person using it, just make sure your face or your hand is clean, not a big deal. But the formula itself is quite nice, and I actually like it. So I'm in the shade Nude 40 if you're curious, and that's a pretty good match for me. So this is actually something I think I would repurchase. I wish though that they just made it in a pump or a squeeze tube. I'm not a fan of this. I know that I think Clinique does a similar foundation with that method. Just, I don't know why they do that. Gross. And then the last Ulta purchase, which I think actually though, this was Walmart. And this might have been Walmart too. So Walmart or Ulta. I got this Maybelline Master Chrome Rose Gold Molten. And I think it was Tati that was talking about it. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll try it out. And I remember trying a Master Chrome in a different shade at one point and I didn't like it. It was too icy. So I wanted to go ahead and try this shade out. And I'm gonna go ahead and swipe it. So there you go. So it is, I mean, it's pretty good. I will say though, on my skin, if I'm not careful, this makes me look so textured. And my skin isn't super textured. It depends on what I do. I've been trying out new products. So recently I'm getting a few breakouts, and then also I notice my skin for whatever reason looks more textured when it starts to get dry and cold outside. So I'll zoom you in and you can see all my texture. So I'll just zoom you in on those cheeks. But like you can kind of see, yeah, like the sort of texture right here. There we go, right there. For whatever reason, that Master Chrome, like it will pick up on texture on my cheeks. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but I mean, it's a pretty shade. Oh, okay, I turned the other way. It's a pretty shade, and if I'm careful, it's not too bad. Why did it get so bright when I went this way? So let me turn. Okay, so I don't know, hopefully, if I get back, yeah, there we go. That's some good texture there. Look at that. Oh, that's awful. So let me explain some of this. And then do you see that right there? Let's get in there. Okay. Okay. Yes. So let me talk about that for a minute. So when you get to be a certain age, so I'm an older lady. Well, not super old, but I'm getting there. So what I will say, I am starting to get, and maybe it's a hormonal imbalance, but I'm starting to get some crazy mad chin hairs, and I've been plucking them. And I've recently also been plucking like these crazy mustache hairs. And when I pluck them, I've been getting ingrown hairs. And that's also why I never waxed before when I was younger, because anytime I would pluck, I would then just pretty much get a pimple mustache. So I've been plucking and pulling out hairs, and then I've been breaking out from doing that. So there you have that. It's from me pulling out my chin hairs. Okay, so moving on. So now we're going to talk about my TJ Maxx purchases. There are quite a few, and I kind of went nuts at TJ Maxx because NARS is one of my favorite brands, and for whatever reason they have a ton of stuff at TJ Maxx right now. And I went to Army over the last weekend, and I went shopping with a friend who recently got engaged, and we did some shopping and we went out to dinner. And then I also went to TJ Maxx I think about a week before that to after doctor's visits. So that's what all of this is from. So it's from like 2 visits, but I mean, I spent a lot of money at TJ Maxx. The first thing I want to talk about are these NARS singles, and I also got a duo. So I've already actually taken them out of their containers. So NARS has it to where now in the new packaging where it kind of pops out here, and then you can put it in a Z palette. And I've already done that, and I've started using them. So I'll go ahead and peel this back. Oh, there was an Ulta purchase I forgot to mention. I'll go back to that in a second. I realized it once I opened this. So I put my NARS things in here. So as you can see, these pans that look like this, like all through there, and then these 2 are my NARS. And I will show you what they are. So this first one right here is Cabo San Lucas, And yeah, there you go. And it is like a light dusty mauve. And it's just a really nice all over shade. Again, for simple look. I've been wearing pretty simple makeup. Actually today is like, that's a lot of makeup for me. I feel like with all these lights and stuff, it doesn't look like a whole lot of makeup. So I can't imagine how much makeup people are putting on their face when they go to do YouTube videos, because I feel like I really piled it on today. Rome. There we go. San Lucas, and then Rome. So then I have Cashmere. Shade Fez, which I've had before in a palette of NARS, but again, it wasn't in this formula. When they reformulated, I noticed that these are a little smoother. So I liked the NARS formula before, but it was a little chunkier than these. Although Fez is always, even in the other formula, was always a smooth pigmented shade. And then I have the shade Kingston, which Kingston is a light taupey gray. And it's matte. And then I have the shade Stud, and it is more sparkly, I would say, than the others. In this shade, and I'll show you in a minute in my Skin Deep palette, it reminds me of those sort of sparkly shades in the Skin Deep palette. And to me, it's more like and it's down here. It's like a deep sort of pewter bronze. The duo I got is Zarine, like Tzarine. And so you can kind of see on the back. I used to have this in the original duo before they switched the formula, and I noticed that the shade like this in there was a little bit chunky, and that was kind of why I got rid of it. And plus I never really wore the gunmetal shade anyway, but maybe with the smoother formula, there we go, I'll wear it a little bit more. So I'll kind of go back, there we go, kind of see them a little bit better. And then all of the singles were about, I think they were like $4.99 to $5.99 each, depending on which one it was. I think the sparkly one was the $5.99, and then the duo I got was $7.99. Compare this shade right here, which is Stud, to the shades inside of the Skin Deep palette by NARS. So you can kind of see they're kind of similar in here. If I had to compare it to any of them, it would be the shades Centerfold and Calendar Girl in here if you have this palette, which those shades are these two right here. I swatched them on my knuckle because that was the closest place by this one. And you can see that they're not really close. It's the same formula. If you were looking for something in that formula, check out your TJ Maxx, because this was like $5.99. So while I have that Z palette open, I'm going to talk about the thing that I forgot to talk about when I was talking about what I picked up at Ulta. So I picked up the set that Whitney Simmons came out with. So I watched Whitney Simmons here on YouTube. I work in the fitness industry. She comes up with some, great workouts, hats off to her. I was a little bit disappointed in the set that I picked up, and I'll tell you why. So I got the mascara, which Maneater. She had nothing to do with this. Maneater mascara has been out since way before she ever made this collaboration. This clumps up my lashes, does not look good. It was put with a workout collaboration, which this flakes on me, and also when I start sweating, it runs down my face. So this is not really a good workout mascara, which really technically you should not be wearing makeup when you work out, I guess. If I do, Whitney Simmons does. I mean, I'm going to work, so I feel like I need to look presentable, but That's also something right there. Is like, if you're going to work out, most people do not wear makeup. It's not a big deal. But Whitney Simmons, she wears makeup. That's why she has this collab with Tarte, because she says she wears makeup when she works out. She makes all those, you know, cute videos. I really sweat it at work. I teach cycling classes among, you know, doing other things there. I sweat a lot. There are times when at the end of my class, I will have makeup running down my face, mascara all over my face. The people are too nice in my class to tell me. I go to the bathroom afterwards. I will look crazy, and I'll be kind of mad that nobody told me that I look absolutely nuts. So, but this, I've worn it a few times. It doesn't really build on itself without looking spidery. It does nothing for my lashes, and I actually have pretty good lashes. Like, I'll just do a little zoom in here and show you. Like, you know, pretty good lashes here. This is one coat of the Pat McGrath mascara. So I feel like, you know, my lashes aren't bad. So this, I feel like most mascaras look okay on me. This makes my lashes look shorter than they actually are, so not a fan. The other thing this came with was a lipstick. The lipstick is really light. It's like a super light pink. Looks beautiful on Whitney. Again, she's got green eyes and blonde hair. I've got brown hair, brown eyes. My skin, I think, is a little bit lighter than hers, but again, the light pink nude shade looks nuts on me. But then we get into the eyeshadows, which I've taken them out, which I do appreciate the fact that they're magnetic in here. As a cohesive palette, I like the idea to where, in her mind or in Tarte's mind, that you have like your eyeshadows, your blush, and your highlighter, that you could just take this palette with you to the gym. But the problem with that is the shades didn't really work for me. But I mean, I thought it was a cute idea. But I did take them out. I did stick them inside of this palette that I opened up and showed you, this magnetic palette. And as you can see, I've kind of moved them around because I've moved the different color families around. It looks gross because there's glue that were on the bottom of the pans, like stuck to the bottom here. Sorry. All right, but the ones that say Tarte on them come from the palette. So you have these two come from there, and then you have these four come from her palette. So, and again, you have these four are the matte shades, and then these two are the shimmer. And again, they're beautiful shades, but this shade right here, which it looks pretty light, again with my lights, but it is not. I'll swatch it for you. That shade is peach. And so I wouldn't be able to use that shade as a highlighting shade. It's, there we go. It's not a highlighter shade. It would be a good transition shade for me, or anybody lighter. So if that's like her skin tone, then maybe she's a little bit deeper than me and a little bit differently toned. I saw the eye looks that she created with this. Those colors pop with her green eyes, and it looks great on her. So overall, I wasn't really able to make a cohesive look that worked for me. They're all beautiful shades. I'll be able to use them all, but I wasn't able to use them all as just one look in this. I had to take them out of this and then just add them to this, if that makes sense. So it wasn't like a complete disappointment. I won't be able to use the mascara or the lip product, but for the price, I think that this was actually still worth it. I feel like the lip product and the mascara were just kind of like an added, I guess, bonus to this. And since it's magnetic and you can add it to something else, it's good that you're able to kind of mix and match and move things around. I also hope though that they come out with other magnetic palettes like this. Maybe they have, and I just have been out of the loop for so long in YouTube land that I'm not aware of it. But if they do, then I would be able to maybe run and take something to the gym. If they do come out with other things this size, that I would be able to pop in here. The other thing though that I was a little bit annoyed with as far as the way this palette works is it was hard to get them out of here. There wasn't like really any space or like a little divot in the corner to be able to dig a tool in. So what I had to do to get them out is I literally had to turn the palette upside down and then just kind of into my hand to be able to get them out and to put them into the other palette. It worked that way, but there wasn't really enough room in here for me to be able to slide anything in to be able to push the pan out. Also though, I did also want to show you the blush and the highlighter. I have them here in this little Z palette. The highlighter is super reflective, and then the blush is a very flattering tone. I think it would flatter a lot of people. So here they are. There's the blush, get back here, and then the highlighter right there. So overall, I think it's a great product. I just had a few issues with it, but I feel like it's hard to please everybody. I think we're gonna talk about now more NARS products. I think, yeah, because I was still on the NARS thing and I forgot to mention those. And then also I wanted to mention, because I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, I had checked their dates on them just to kind of let you know how old they were. So I knew that they weren't too old because they were in the new formula and in the new packaging. So I will tell you that the oldest product that I got, I haven't shown you yet, but the oldest product that I received, well, 3 of them were made in 2017 and they hadn't been opened yet. They were still sealed, and pretty much the way the website worded it was if they were still sealed, they were good for 3 years. Once they had, you know, it didn't matter if they were sealed or then opened, didn't matter what it said after opening, they were good for 3 years. The weird thing is about the NARS cosmetics on that website, it just gives you the year. And then when I would go in on the same website and check some other cosmetic brands, they told me the day they were manufactured. So I don't know what the deal with that was. Thought it was a little bit weird, but it at least told me the year that the stuff was manufactured, which I kind of knew anyway because some of the stuff was limited edition and I could actually just go and check when the stuff was released. Some of it was a bit of a surprise to me, and then some of it I was like, well, it kind of makes sense why it's here, but it's actually a product that I like, so I'm gonna buy it. All right, so I purchased these NARS bronzers. So they're the sun-washed bronzers that NARS came out with a couple years ago, and I was in a panic when they first came out with them because I thought they were getting rid of the original formula of bronzer, which apparently they are not. It was just a different formula in the same color of like their Laguna, and their Laguna of the original formula does not look the same as the Laguna in this formula, and I was having a hard time hoping that they were not going to just completely replace Laguna with the new one. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the two side by side. So you can see side by side, this is the original Laguna and it's got more of a sheen to it. And then this Laguna is the new one that doesn't really have the sheen, but then once on the skin, it's more transparent. And so I'll kind of show you once they're swatched. You kind of see they look completely different on the skin. And I actually like, even though the shades are very similar on the skin, but the way they wear are completely different. So at first I was afraid I would not like this formula, and I actually got it in a palette. The palette I first got to try the formula in, which came with Laguna and Casino. And it was really hard to get my brush into the bronzers on here, but I found that I really like the formula of those because, again, when I go to work out, for whatever reason, that really thin bronzer formula, when I would start to sweat, it didn't, like, the sweat beads didn't pull the color from my face as I went down. So I don't know if you've ever like been really sweaty like outside in the summer, or you just taken a cycling class or something like that, or just worked out, I don't know, sweated with makeup on, and then all of a sudden it comes down your face and then you have like makeup, and then where the makeup pretty much rolls off, and then so there's no makeup and then makeup. For whatever reason, this formula doesn't do that. So I really like it for that. I find though that this formula, since it's thin like that, it doesn't wear as well over makeup. I like this formula best over if you just have, I mean, it wears well over makeup, but if you just have your skin like with no makeup on and you just want to look bronze, this looks gorgeous and it looks natural. So anyway, when I saw the full pans of these bronzers at TJ Maxx, I decided that I was just going to go ahead and pick them up. So I ended up getting Laguna, and then I saw Fallacies, which was a deeper version. And then I saw Seaside, which was a lighter shade. I picked them all up. I like them. I will say something weird about Fallacies is at first I thought it was hard pan. It's not hard pan, but if you can kind of see, yeah, I mean, it looks like it might be hard pan around the edges, but like in the center, I don't know, it's weird. Color still comes off, like quite a bit, but something about it, like I've even used like a spoolie to try to get that to stop doing it, and maybe that's why they're at TJ Maxx. The other two do not do it, it's just that specific shade. So I just kind of wanted you to be aware of that, but I actually like that shade as an eyeshadow. It looks gorgeous if I just kind of run an eyeshadow brush through it, obviously because I'm doing my eyeshadow, and I do my eyeshadow and then lightly put it over my face. It's a super cohesive look. It's beautiful. And then in the same packaging, I also picked up the Fort de France highlighter. And then there we go. And again, it's just a really nice highlighter shade. So another highlighter I picked up was in the shade Hot Sand. So over the summer, I picked this up. There was like a duo that was Hot Sand on one side and then it was Laguna on the other, and it was like a stick duo. And so I picked it up over the summer. Laguna worked fine, but then the Hot Sand side, for whatever reason, was almost kind of gummy and didn't really want to work. So, I mean, you still get color on it. You can see the color, and I loved the shade, but when I went to apply it to my face, it didn't want to work. So, especially would like go to pick up makeup. So if I used it, I had to use it with no other makeup on my face, which I found to be really annoying. So then I saw that they had the Hot Sand there. So I went ahead, like in this form. So I went ahead and I picked it up. And that was one that I checked the date on once I got home, and that is one it was manufactured in 2017. So I'm guessing that is why, since it came out around the same time as the duo, why that one part on here, since it's about 3 years old, isn't performing the best, because again, it was 24 months, if that makes sense, like 24 months ago. The shelf life is 24 months. It's a cream product. Even though it was in its paper packaging, it still has been exposed to air. Like, this isn't like airtight, you know, it's gonna be exposed to air. So that's why it's not performing as well. But this, the color, I got the color in this form, and I'll swatch it like right here. And it's beautiful. So happy to have it. I also purchased this NARS eyeshadow palette. This came out this time last year. And this is the Provacateur eyeshadow palette. It's got some interesting shades in there. And I found that they're a little bit flaky. I think this was $12.99. I'm not sure how much it originally retailed for, but I thought I would try it out. Again, I love NARS shadows. This shade right here, I found to be really interesting. I was hoping that it would apply kind of like the finger swatch, but then I went to wear it and it was just a little bit flaky. So I was hoping it would look like this, like, it looks good, right? But then I went to apply it on the eyes over other shadows and it was a little bit flaky. And then I found it all on my under eyes. So I'm not quite sure what base I need to wear with that so it doesn't do it. And then this shade right here reminds me of like MAC, like Club or Blue Brown pigment. See, it's got a little bit more sparkle to it. So I'm probably not going to be able to wear this all on its own, but I think I'll be able to kind of accent and pull some of these shades in when doing other looks. I didn't realize that was in there. I really like the red shade. I think that'll look really good to kind of warm up or pull that red in. If you have green eyes, I think red is really good to pull out the green in your eyes, but it's also good if you have brown eyes, it also pulls out the green in brown eyes too. So I'm a fan. So I want to try that. The packaging is beautiful though, but I feel like the performance of the eyeshadows is not as good as what the performance of a normal NARS eyeshadow is. So then also I got this, and I think this was originally made for the duty-free that goes inside of airports, because it's the traveler's exclusive or jet setter. And I'm not sure where it says on here that it's made for duty-free, but a lot of the times, I don't know if you guys notice, but a lot of times there are products that end up in TJ Maxx and Marshalls that you can tell are just made for duty-free. And this has just got to be one of them. You get 2 NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers in here. This one's still done in here. I got it for $12.99. I actually ended up buying 2 of these because it's in the shade that I normally wear, which is the, I think, vanilla or whatever shade that is. And I think it would say on here, yeah, vanilla. I got 2 of these, $12.99. So really about $6.50 each. And they're completely sealed, so I know people aren't in there messing with them. So I went ahead and picked it up. It was a great deal. A couple of months ago, I went ahead and I bought the smudge proof eyeshadow base. This isn't the one I just got, but I had not tried it before. I was looking for a new eyeshadow primer, and then I saw at TJ Maxx that they had the tinted version in the shade Light. So I went ahead and I picked that up. I mean, it's obviously the same thing, just in the shade Light. And I think it was around $5.99. And as you can see, it just kind of cancels out, you know, any coloring you have. And that's actually what I'm using as my eyeshadow base today. So I wanted to go ahead and pick that up. I needed to replace, I got the NARS one a while back just to kind of test, but I've been on an eyeshadow primer looking for one because I have been using this one for what seems like forever. It hasn't like ran out, but I got this one. I purchased a QVC like Too Faced palette bundle. I think it might have been like the semi-sweet palette or something like that. I've since decluttered the palette and I still have that primer, which I'm sure is way too old. So then also I picked up this Marc Jacobs eyeshadow primer because I wanted to go ahead and give it a try. It's the Perfecting Coconut Eye Primer. It's in the shade 32 Invisible. Is that upside down? There we go. There we go. So I went ahead and picked this up. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the Too Faced primer. I also picked up this Glam Glow highlighting kit. I couldn't find when this was manufactured on a website because I guess Glam Glow doesn't make a ton of makeup. I looked online. If you guys know how to find it, let me know. But I picked this up and I've tried them out. I find that it's okay. They're actually not as shimmery as a lot of other highlighters, which I like. It's a nice subtle highlighter. So not too bad. I like the rubberized packaging too. It was $19.99 though, and so I'm not sure that's the best deal, but I was curious to try it out. I got 2 Becca highlighters while I was there. I had a really hard time, and actually not just a hard time, it was impossible for me to be able to find the check fresh dates on the Becca highlighters. But I was able to just look and see when these release dates were for these Becca highlighters at least. And I got the Royal Glow. And I've been using this, and this one is a little bit more golden, if you can see, than opal. There we go. It's a little bit more golden than opal. And let's see here. And then I also got this one, which is the Light Chaser highlighter for face and eye. And this one is Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini. And there those are. I picked up this blush trio. I've seen these come in and out of TJ Maxx stores now for about a year. And I got this one in Pool Party, and I got this, I think, I don't know who it was, but they were doing a TJ Maxx haul or a what's at TJ Maxx recently. And I saw this one and I was like, you know what? I like this shade. And it was specifically for this shade right here because I feel like it's a blush shade, but you can also use it as an eyeshadow, and you can also use it as a contour. And it kind of goes, I just feel like you would just be able to make a really cohesive sort of makeup look with it. So I went ahead and decided to get that. The other two shades I could take or leave, or I feel like you could just mix them all together. But I was just really interested in it for that shade and for the price. Like TJ Maxx prices, I felt like you couldn't beat it. And I feel like that's how TJ Maxx gets you, is because their prices are just, they're way cheap. They're like high-end products, but they're way cheaper than what you would pay for it. Then it's pretty much drugstore prices. But then again, now drugstore makeup's so expensive. You buy all this stuff, it really adds up, obviously. I am obsessed. I've said obsessed like 3 times. I'm not obsessed with anything. I feel I feel like the word obsession like brings on a different meaning, and we use it way too much. But anyway, I have really been enjoying Marc Jacobs single eyeshadows. I don't own any Marc Jacobs palettes. I've been kind of wanting to try them, but I've just kind of been teetering back and forth because, again, I'm not sure what shades I would use out of an entire palette. So I've just been purchasing the individuals, but those are kind of expensive at around $30 each. But I did find some individuals at TJ Maxx, and I got the shade, this one is in Dynamo, and then this one is in OMG. And so it's kind of like, you know, I have this, it's matte with some sparkle in it. And then this one is kind of a, I would say like a shimmer to a metallic, like a copper. And the weird thing about this is I have other Marc Jacobs eyeshadows. So the ones that I had handy were these shades, which are obviously the ones that like you would use the most because they're a big shadow, and I wanted to be sure that I purchased shades that I would use the most. And I have Perfecto, Daddy-O, Primo, and the Big O. And those are the ones that I decided, you know, to purchase and to splurge that money on when I first got them. So here's the thing with that. I'm not sure what the deal with these two shades, because these were the only 2 shades that I saw at TJ Maxx. And the batch codes on the back of the TJ Maxx shades are different. And not just like, obviously they're different batches, you know, they're not going to be all in the same batches, but these have a 4-digit batch code. These have a 5-digit batch code, and I'm not sure why. When I went to try to figure out when these were all made, for whatever reason, I couldn't find out when any of them were made. They're still a relatively new product, so I know that it wasn't like super long ago. But the 4-digit batch codes didn't come up either, which were the ones that I purchased, and neither did the 5-digit batch codes. So I'm having a hard time finding that online, and I'm not sure why none of them are coming up. Probably the most ridiculous purchase I got at TJ Maxx was this. So this was $29.99. And I mean, it's not even a whole lot cheaper than what you would get in the store. Oh, I don't know. Is it like around 40 or 50 bucks, I guess, in the store? Or I guess Sephora or wherever. And I did check, I'm pretty sure. Let me look at my sheet. I think I did check when it was manufactured. Yeah, this one had a 2019 manufacture date, so I'm not sure why it's in the store, because it was made this year. Or why it was in TJ Maxx, because it was made this year. But I don't wear a ton of colorful eyeshadow, which this is mostly neutrals. I will wear these. And I don't think I own any other Too Faced. That's not true. I still have the peach palette. I used to have all these Too Faced shadows, and I got rid of all of them. So I'm going to go ahead, play around with this. It also came with like a little card that gave you like, yeah, instructions on the eye looks. Now here's the thing. I normally pretty much just dust I don't know, what most people would call a transition shade all over the eye, under the eye, and into the crease. And then I might add like a little something into the outer V, and then maybe pop a little something into the center and call it a look. That's pretty much how I do 80% of my eye looks. They have these super involved eye looks that always, they take like 4 or 5 shades each and use a ton of colors. I like to build texture and then use pretty much the same sort of color, but just a different texture over the eye, and like same color family. And then these are kind of, I don't know, building a lot of, those aren't too bad. I just feel like that's a lot for me. Like, especially that, like, I feel like that's quite a bit for me. So I might go through and just kind of recreate what they say to do on the eye, just out of curiosity. I don't know, like, I never do the looks that, do you guys do the looks that come in the books? Dr. Seuss. And then the last thing I got was a single shadow by Laura Mercier, which I again was surprised that it was manufactured this year. So I actually put it in this trio. It's this one right here in the shade Ginger. And so I have somewhere the other, hold on a second. So it came in this right here, and then I popped it out of that. So the trio that I had in here originally had these 3 shades. And this one I found was a little bit flaky and I wasn't using it a whole lot, and I'll show it to you. Just that one. It's a pretty shade. I just don't like, when I dig a brush into something, I don't like something flaky, and I find to get this not flaky that I had to use my finger, and I wasn't a fan. But these 3 shades together, that's what I have on my eyes right now, other than I did add a little bit of that ColourPop highlighter on top. But this is what it's currently on my eyes. So anyway, the shade Ginger is right here. And so I have, if you're curious in here, I have Ginger, Baroque, and then this right here is Warm Sands. So that's Ginger. And then the matte part of my hand, it's barely any darker than my skin tone, and it leans more like, it leans orange to my skin tone. But yeah, you can kind of see back here. So it just warms up my skin tone a little bit. So I just thought I would just pop that in here and then have this separately if I did still want to use it. And then that was the last thing I picked up at TJ Maxx. So, all right, so I did go to the Sephora sale, and I just kind of looked around, and I decided to pick up these 2 items. I didn't even know of their existence before looking around, but when I saw them, I knew they had to be mine, and I'm wearing one of them today. It's the RMS Luminizing Powder, and I got the highlighter and the bronzer. So I have the RMS Living Luminizer in the little pot that's pretty much a coconut thing. It's like it's like a coconut oil highlighter thing. Comes in here. So I have that, but I wanted to try out their powders. I didn't even know they made powder products. This bronzer is what I have on today. It's natural, it's pretty, looks good, I like it. Also got the highlighter because why not? So I'll go ahead and I'll swatch those for you. The tone of the bronzer though, I mean, it's beautiful. So there you go. It's not too cool, it's not too warm. It's beautiful. I guess beautiful is just the only word I got for you. And then there's the highlighter on top of it. Again, not the world's best swatcher. The packaging is quite nice. All right guys, so I know that this was a super long video. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm gonna try not to continue doing hauls to where they're not informative. Hopefully this was informative. That was kind of my goal, and that's why I refilmed the video, because I wanted to make sure if I am doing a haul, at least I'm giving you information along with the products I'm buying. The other thing with this though is I find that what's not helpful is a lot of these products came from TJ Maxx. And since it came from TJ Maxx, the product in TJ Maxx may not even be there once I post this because it comes and goes so quickly. And that's the thing of like being a YouTuber, is you want to post the stuff right away that's coming into the store as soon as possible. And then also I'm trying to be economically conscious. So if I were to purchase all of these items at full price, it would have cost me, I'm sure, well over $1,000. So that's also something else to keep in mind. So I'm gonna leave it to you guys. Let me know what kind of videos you guys wanna see. Do you want me to do videos where I'm using these products? Do you already own them? Do you want me to do videos where I'm doing collection videos, declutters, taking you shopping with me, doing more vlog type videos? Let me know what you want to see. My next video is going to be a beauty pie video where it'll probably be a two-parter because I know, again, I'm long-winded. I'm going to try to work on that and be as concise and informative as possible. But it's going to be a two-parter because I know there's so much information that I'm going to have to jam into the video. But the first part will most likely be where I just tell you about Beauty Pie as a company and my experience with them. And then the second part will just be more product based. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave those below. Be sure that you subscribe to my channel here. I guess you should click the notification thing. That's a thing now. And I guess it really is a thing because half the time the people that I didn't click it for, I guess they've been making videos and I haven't been getting notifications for those, which is really annoying. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram if you just want to see what I do on the daily. And I guess that's it. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.